looks like the health insurance industry isn't having a very good week. The comments from both the right and the left seem to be aligning. Right now, the assassin has a higher approval rating than any politician in the US. Sympathy is not covered by my plan. I don't think it helps that UnitedHealth is the largest healthcare provider in the United States. They have a market capitalization of $448 billion, which is more than double the next largest. CVS being $136 billion. They have a reputation for denying claims. They're double the industry average, 32%. Holy crap. Why do the politicians do nothing? My guess is this company lobbies. $10 million in 2023, nearly $6 million in 2024. And Kamala in 2024 received $774,000. Republican National Committee, $207,000. Let's see, Trump, $144,000, and then the rest are Democrat and DNC. They must have thought Harris was really going to win. I listened to Ben Shapiro talking about this earlier today, and I think he's completely off the mark. I do not think his audience is with him. He seems to think this is a right versus left issue.
The system of private health insurance in the United States is a bizarre amalgam of government subsidies. Nearly all healthcare coverage in the United States is in some form or fashion government involved, even private healthcare.
That's what I've been saying. Even private healthcare. If it's already completely and entirely involved, then just make it completely and entirely involved, and then everyone will be covered. It's completely ridiculous that companies like GoFundMe exist.
Care systems are heavily government regulated, very strongly.
Right, the insurance companies are regulated as well.
That is not UnitedHealthcare's fault. That is like suggesting that if Ralph's prices bread at a particular level because the markets have determined that there's just that much bread available, and then people can't afford that bread, that's somehow Ralph's fault. The system works how the system works, and you can talk about changes to the system. We should. Obamacare has been a bad thing for the system, I believe, in general. But the idea that if you work for a private healthcare insurance company, that you should be murdered is pretty astonishing.
I guess Ben didn't get the memo that UnitedHealthcare denies claims at double the industry standard, 32%. What does that have to do with regulations? If it did, then Kaiser, Cigna, Aetna, they'd all have a denial rate of 32% because they're part of the same system. There is room for actors behaving badly within the system. It can't always be the system's fault.
Someone against death and suffering, I think it's good to call out this broken system and the people in power who enable it. I have a question. Why is he the one who enables it? Really, why is he the one who enables it? I wasn't aware that Brian Thompson was a public policy professional working in an arena in which consent was not actually the keystone. Meaning, if you don't want to buy healthcare insurance via United, don't do it, or don't work for a company that does do it.
This has to be the most retarded take you can possibly have. If you already have them as a provider, and then a huge medical expense comes up that they should have to cover, you can't go to a different insurance provider when you find out that they're not going to cover it. If you have a $250,000 hospital bill that they're not going to cover, you can't say, okay, I don't like you guys anymore. I'm going to go get a different insurance provider, and then they're going to cover the operation. This take makes zero sense. If you're working for a company and that's the insurance provider they're using, then you're going to use that insurance provider. And then when they deny your claim, you can't change your insurance provider to have it covered. If you die, if you lose a leg, if you end up in a wheelchair because you're not fully covered, that's not your fault because you didn't go and work for somebody else. You didn't expect to be denied that claim. You just assume if you have insurance that anything that happens to you health-wise is going to be covered. Let's watch Ben make a fool out of himself some more here.
Meaning, if you don't want to buy healthcare insurance via United, don't do it, or don't work for a company that does do it. But you have to understand that for people on the left, this says something deeper about the left. Okay, here's the deeper thing it says about the far left.
What does it say about the left? Scroll down, Ben. Look at your own comments. To claim it is just the American left that's been sharing this on social media is delusional. As someone who ate $14,000 plus over 3 years for UnitedHealth insurance, I couldn't afford to actually use. I have zero sympathy for the dude. This is your viewers, Ben. My dad was denied an operation on his back from his insurance he has held and paid on time for 30 years. They said it's because he is too old. Okay, Ben, should he just switch insurance providers now? What is the point of having it and paying for it if you can't use it when you need it?
And it's a reason why there's a Venn diagram that looks like a circle between people who are fine with Brian Thompson getting murdered on the street and people who are pro-Hamas. Like, it's an actual circle. Why?
Oh my God. Oh my, this is insane. You know who else drank water? Hitler. Not everything is an attack on capitalism. Not everything is a right versus left issue. Many times it's just a right versus wrong issue. Now, I don't know what his stock portfolio looks like, but I know that UnitedHealth is in the S&P 100, so I'm assuming he benefits financially in some way. I'm not accusing him of taking a side because of that. I know the Daily Wire makes $200 million a year. I stand corrected, $220 million. My point is, I'm sure Ben is fine financially as long as his contract is better than what other talents have been offered by Jeremy Boring. It's sad that Ben feels like he has to defend capitalism at any cost. Capitalism is not the same as a free market. If we lived in a free market, then monopolies wouldn't be illegal. They are supposed to be illegal, but unfortunately, these companies are working towards monopoly. And the bigger they get, the bigger they can become. We've all played Monopoly. We know what happens in Monopoly. You win by bankrupting everybody else. You keep playing until everybody runs out of money. Parker Brothers wasn't the first to realize this phenomenon, which ironically, they were acquired by Hasbro in 1991 for $500 million, so they saw this phenomenon play out themselves. But the issue is biblical. Matthew 13:12 states, "For whoever has, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance, but whoever has not, from him shall be taken away even that he has." Now I have something for my fellow heathens. Humanist Peter Thiel.
And my claim is that everybody who is a founder, an entrepreneur, an investor, an early employee in these companies, you always want to aim for monopoly. And that is what you would want to aim for on the inside. We can have a discussion about what kinds of monopolies are good or bad for society at large, but on the inside, that is what you always want to aim for. You don't want to have crazy competition. And so I think that there's sort of a conventional view that capitalism and competition are synonyms, and I believe the opposite is true. I believe capitalism and competition are antonyms. I believe a capitalist is someone who's in the business of accumulating capital. A world of perfect competition is a world where all the profits are competed away.
All right, so I'm going to come around to why I'm bringing up monopolies to begin with. UnitedHealth has already acquired several health insurance companies, but they're going to vertically integrate their services. They acquired Optum, which is a physician's network. It includes doctors' offices. In fact, the DOJ has been investigating them because Optum has been quietly acquiring physician practices for years. UnitedHealth acquiring Optum immediately gave UnitedHealth power over 90,000 physicians. The executives disclosed this back in November. Now, 90,000 physicians is 1/10 of all of the physicians in the US. You can imagine this would give UnitedHealthcare an advantage because all they have to say is go to these doctors within our networks. You can't go anywhere else. Well, guess what? All those doctors work for us. They work for the parent company. So it's keeping the money in-house and it's pushing out competition.
Well, let's check on shares of UnitedHealth and where they closed out the day. We saw that big drop there on the screen, and the Wall Street Journal reporting the company is the subject of an antitrust probe. But reportedly, Justice Department investigators have been asking about certain relationships between the company's insurance unit and its health services arm, Optum Health, which owns physician groups. Again, that's according to the Journal. And when that story dropped, you see there the reaction, the shares dropping a little more than 2%.
Yeah, it's interesting. It looks like, Julie, it doesn't look like UnitedHealth Group is commenting right now. It doesn't look like the Justice Department is commenting either. But as the Journal kind of notes, maybe more broadly, we know the Biden administration has kind of signaled the healthcare industry is a priority in its antitrust efforts. And of course, we know those efforts have certainly ramped up.
So it looks like Brian knew about the investigation 6 months in advance and ended up selling $15 million worth of UnitedHealth stock. In May, the Hollywood Firefighters Pension Fund had filed a lawsuit against Thompson, alleging he had sold over $15 million of UnitedHealth stock, despite being aware of an active Justice Department antitrust investigation into the health insurance company that he did not disclose to investors or the public. Ooh. Though UnitedHealth the lawsuit alleges, was aware of the Justice Department investigation since at least October 2023. The public would only learn of the case when the Wall Street Journal published a story about it on February 27, 2024. When the news of the investigation broke, it erased $25 billion in shareholder value, but at that time, Thomson had already cashed out, selling over $15 million in personally held UnitedHealth shares. Can we just not let health insurance providers get into actually providing healthcare? If you're going to have these middlemen, let's not let them just acquire everything.
Yeah, Optum is, first of all, UnitedHealth is the largest health insurer in the United States, and Optum is a huge part of its growth strategy and has been that health services arm. It owns physician groups, and it's really grown through acquisitions as well of those physician groups. So it's interesting here. This is, to my knowledge, not an area that the Justice Department has looked into before, and perhaps because UnitedHealth has been making these acquisitions over time and now has reached a critical mass that has drawn the attention of the health department. It's not as though it made a big acquisition and was looking at it as a result of that. So, we'll see if there's anything that comes out of this. 90,000 physicians is the number that works just for that Optum
it's
arm.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
The executives apparently have said in the past, I guess, Julie, that Optum and UnitedHealthcare don't, in fact, favor one another. So, but we'll wait and see what.
Right. Sure.
United is just getting started. Quote, despite our size, we're just scratching the surface of the opportunity, he told a group of investors.
Jeez.
If 40 years of consolidation has taught us anything about health insurance, it's that big is usually bad. While companies like United will always frame their growth as a way to help you, their relentless rationing of healthcare shows it's anything but. They've done it with automated denials, and they'll continue to find innovative ways to protect their bottom line as they acquire more and more healthcare businesses. So what can be done about this? Vertical integration has been a very convenient way to escape antitrust measures for insurers like United, because regulators are accustomed to only scrutinizing acquisitions that remove their competition in the same space. In this case, insurance.
Right. Vertical integration. If you can't grow your insurance arm, you just grow your pharmacies and you grow your physician networks, of course.
United isn't even the only problem. Their vertical integration strategy is spreading across the industry. It isn't too late for antitrust regulators to start scrutinizing when companies like CVS or UnitedHealthcare are buying up anything and everything.
This is like getting your renter's insurance from your landlord. Crazy story. Yeah, I don't know how much longer the American people are going to continue to be fleeced by these companies. We'll have to do a follow-up on this.